Today, we are going to talk about top 10 common Viva mistakes and more importantly, how to avoid them. Whether you are a student preparing for a thesis defense or facing any other Viva examination, these tips will be valuable. So let's dive in. Mistake number 1, lack of preparation. The first big mistake is not preparing adequately. You are in the Viva and you can't answer basic questions about your own research. Imagine you are asked, can you explain your research methodology? If you haven't reviewed your notes and methods, you might stumble and leave a bad impression. To avoid this, make sure you review your work, notes, and research thoroughly. Mistake number 2, nervousness. Nervousness is a common issue. Being overly nervous can hinder your performance. This could happen if you haven't practiced enough. For example, you are asked about a key findings and you stumble over your words due to nerves. Combat this by practicing with mock vivas to boost your confidence. During the actual viva, take deep breaths and remember that it's okay to feel nervous, but don't let it take over. Mistake number 3 is quite tricky. It's overconfidence. Yes, confidence is great, but being overly confident can lead to arrogance. For example, you are asked to explain a complex concept and you say, "Oh, it's so obvious, everyone should know this." This can rub your examiner the wrong way. To avoid this, maintain a balanced level of confidence and respect the seriousness of the viva as an evaluation of your work and knowledge. Mistake number 4, not listening carefully. Another mistake is not listening carefully to the examiner's questions. For example, you are asked about the limitation of your study, but you didn't pay attention. You start talking about your strength instead, completely missing the point. To avoid this, listen attentively. If something isn't clear, don't hesitate to ask for clarification to provide accurate answers. Mistake number 5, rushing answers. Rushing through answers without thinking can lead to inaccuracies. Let's say you are asked about the implication of your research and you respond hurriedly with "it doesn't really matter." This can give the impression that you haven't thought deeply about your work. To avoid this, take a moment to gather your thoughts before answering. A brief pause to consider your response is perfectly acceptable. Mistake number 6, exaggeration. Move on to mistake number 6, exaggeration. Imagine you don't know the answer to a question, but you decide to make something up. For instance, you are asked for statistics and you give inflated numbers. This can seriously backfire when the examiners catch it. To solve this, stick to the facts. If you don't know the answer to a question, admit it. Mistake number 7 is rambling. That is, going off topic and providing lengthy, irrelevant explanation can frustrate examiners. Let's say you are asked about your research main contribution, but you start talking about every little detail. You might lose your audience attention and fail to provide a clear answer. To solve this, always keep your response concise and directly related to the questions. Don't drift into unrelated details. The 8th mistake is not knowing your own work. Being unfamiliar with your own research or study is a significant pitfall. For example, you are asked about the core argument for your thesis and you draw a blank. This can happen if you haven't reviewed your work thoroughly. Avoid this by reviewing your work thoroughly. You should be able to discuss your methodology, results, conclusions, etc. The 9th mistake is not asking for clarification when a question is unclear. Imagine you are given a vague question and instead of seeking clarity, you guess what examiner mean. This can lead to miscommunication. To prevent this mistake, don't hesitate to politely request more information if you find a question confusing. And last but not the least, mistake number 10 is arguing with examiners. Getting defensive or arguing when faced with criticism can create tension. If they criticize your work, getting defensive can be a big mistake. For instance, you were told your methodology is flawed and you respond with, "You don't understand my research." This can create tension and harm your performance. Be open to feedback even if it's negative. Stay respectful and receptive to constructive criticism. Remember that Viva is an opportunity to learn and improve. So, there you have it, the top 10 common Viva mistakes illustrated with examples and how to avoid them. By recognizing these pitfalls and learn from these examples, you can better prepare for your Viva and increase your chances of success. Thanks for watching my video.